I love drawing my Dungeons and Dragons characters. Me and my party have created the use, special sessions, and basically have done anything you can do with your characters. Or so I thought. Okay, so I was brainstorming ideas for this video, and in the future I would like to get into all the different concepts me and my party have explored so far. But I realized that I've never done one of the most basic things you can do, and that is thinking about how my characters attack, basically. How they look, how they sound when they do that, how their magic looks, and all that. And I would like to do this for all of my characters, but in order to make it less confusing, I decided, for you and for me, because it's a lot of characters, I decided to divide these videos by campaign. And in this one, we're gonna explore my characters from a campaign called Inborg. And okay, the characters in question are: one is my player character, Leopardo, Edobardo, Ripardo, Giacobardo, il Bardo, more commonly known as Leopardo, a bard, and a character from his backstory, Emmanuel, who is a sorcerer. Leopardo is a College of Glamour bard. That means that he is extremely charm-based. For this reason, I decided to focus on two types of magic, his attack magic and his charm magic. But before getting into all that, I first did some warm-up sketches of how he looks while playing his guitar normally. His instrument of choice, as I said, is an electric guitar. It's called Mandibolino, which is a play on words, mandible and mandolin. We'll get into the mandible, not the mandible, the mandolin. Soon enough. And in Italian, since the campaign is played in Italian, the words would be like mandible is mandibola and mandolin is mandolino. It's pretty close, and that's why mandibolino. And it's a mandolin and not a guitar, and that is because in the first draft he played the mandolin, since we still hadn't decided if the campaign was going to be like, we assumed, by me and the party, we didn't have a context yet, and we mostly assumed it was going to be set in a medieval fantasy context, because it was also my first original D&D character, so it's kind of like, I just not knowing too much. I had played a couple of one-shots and short campaigns, but the characters were given to us and not originally created by us, so I kind of went for the most basic thing, also because I thought that the campaign was going to last like one session and then everyone was going to forget about it, but that's me not being not putting faith into stuff. And now it's been 3 years, so, and it's still going. But yeah, that's why it's a mandolin. Then it changed to a modern world, the setting, and I changed this mandolin to an electric guitar. It didn't have an amplifier, of course, because it was a mandolin, and I don't want him to bring an amplifier with him, because that would be annoying and heavy, and he's not that strong. I've looked up if electric guitars with a built-in amplifier exist, and it seems like they do, but I've heard that they're not that good. I don't know though, I don't want to slander, I don't know. If they're not good, we can just say it's magic. I mean, he's a bard, that's how he casts. Yeah, so he uses his guitar to attack. When working on his face and expression, I immediately thought of what is called the guitarist stank face, okay? It's basically the involuntary expressions that musicians tend to make when playing something really good. You know, I thought it would be a perfect match for his attacks. But I did want to add something more, because I was drawing the expression and then I thought, like, well, if he's attacking someone, he needs to look at them. Like, because usually with this expression the eyes are closed, because you scrunch up the face. But like, he does need to look at who he's attacking if he wants to actually attack them. So I mixed things up, and I added an open eye to the expression. So now he just looks at you like he hates you. Yeah, it was really hard to draw. I had to redo it a couple of times. I like it. It could be more. Like, it could be more intense for sure. I don't hate it though. Like, I still like this expression. The pose in general for his attack. I mean, it's an average I'm attacking you pose. I'm kind of running around. And everything like just flows accordingly, like the hair and stuff. And stuff, especially stuff. And and yeah, I mean, I also I didn't really get into the sound of it too much. I think it'd be interesting to approach this from a sound only perspective, like how, in general, not, I mean, for bards, it's kind of self explanatory. Like, they cast through their music, so if they play, there's going to be a sound. I mean, it would be interesting if also other. It's okay, I guess this is kind of seeing it through a video game ish lens, but if the other classes also had some kind of sound to their casting and not only a look to them. This, I guess it's pretty clear. I'm approaching this from a very character-centered perspective. That's what I do mostly. This is the whole point. So, yeah. But yeah. Then I move to his charm attack. I mean, charm spells, I guess. And the pose for his charm spells came to me pretty naturally. I mean, it's an average. I'm charming. I said that before with the attacking. He's just average. He has his back straightened up. It is making you able to see the pink fabric under the brim of his hat. It wasn't a conscious choice when I made it, but the moment I drew it, it reminded me of. It almost gave me the vibe of a bird, that a male bird showing off his colorful feathers to a potential mate, just showing you the pink of his hat. And in this case, he's staying still, but his hair is moved by an invisible gust of wind. After some insightful feedback from my party members, I finished up the poses. Okay, now that I had the poses, I actually had to think about the magic part, like that's kinda important, and I was forgetting about it. For his spells, I had different colors in mind, like I thought about pink, blue, like his eyes. That was a really brief thought, though I didn't like the blue. And also, I almost went for a dark, like brownish, iridescent, kinda. Okay, I don't know how to explain it, but it's the color of my dice. So, but in the end, I chose gold. It's gonna be golden. Yeah. In his attack pose, I used the magic as kinetic lines in order to make the movement more intense. The quick impact between his fingers and the metal strings of the guitar generates sparks. I was kinda thinking of this guy on TikTok. He's called Doroshenko. But yeah, the one that does kinda like sparks with his guitar. Like, of course, it's modified, but you know, that's the vibe. Just intense sparks. So yeah, that's kinda what went into the attack pose. While in his charm pose, the magic is still golden, but it works more as an effect around him, kind of like a stage light shining down on him and making him glow. But it being a light, it did make it look more like a normal yellow light rather than gold. Golden lights, they don't exist, right? It's just yellow. Like a stage light. It couldn't be golden. At best, a cold yellow, I think. Anyways. But in order to keep the gold, I added some specks around him, almost like confetti, which are golden. In this case, it sounded like I was saying, implying that if it's not golden, it's not confetti. So basically, his charm magic almost works as screen tones work in shoujo mangas, when someone is supposed to like be super cool, and I mean, I might as well add the flowers. I mean, the rose will kinda. But I guess, okay, for the bardo though, I feel like I like the rose. I did make 1 year ago, was it? Last summer? 2 summers ago, I think. Damn. Manga page, traditionally. And I did choose some flowers that had a meaning. If only I remember though. I did write them behind the drawing, the piece. But I don't know what it is. And also, I don't think I wrote it in a way I could understand it now. I wrote it in a way I could understand it 5 minutes after writing it, but not 2 summers later. But this is the bardo. Enjoy. Emmanuel, it's Emmanuel's turn. Emmanuel is not a player character, so I haven't made a character sheet for him, and I don't know, like, his level. That is up for our DM to decide. But I have written his backstory, so I'm going to use that as a reference. So, yeah. He is a draconic sorcerer, but he is not a fighter. And I don't mean the class, I mean like as a person, he's not a fighter, he is a performer. So, if he does use his magic, I assume it would be mostly not to attack people, but to entertain them. So, like in the Bardos's case, I did focus on charm spells. Don't really see him using his spells to attack. I mean, at least not in the context that I've seen this character in so far. We don't know what the future holds. I immediately knew that I wanted his magic to be pink, but the color didn't really match up with any draconic sorcerer's damage type. So I just went off of vibes, and I chose poison for his damage type. For his magic, I wanted it to look glittery and almost work as a prop for him. So yeah, we are back to shoujo mangas as a concept for the screen tones and magic effects just being around the characters. As I stated before, he is a performer. He acts, sings and dances on stage, and if he involves magic, it's going to be in order to make him shine more. So yeah, I just tried some poses of him using it as a prop, as I said. Like, in that pose, he's using it as a boa, just making it rest on his shoulders. I think that looks pretty cool. But yeah, when drawing his expression, I was thinking of the smile that the old Hollywood divas had, like that kind of perfect smile, even though he does have sharp teeth and they're also yellow, like his eyes, due to his draconic ancestry. I also thought, I didn't apply it though, but I thought that it would be super cool if the magic had a translucent pattern similar to dragon scales that kinda materializes. But I didn't give it to Emmanuel because I felt like there's another draconic sorcerer that I might talk about in the future that might fit them better, so subscribe to find out who that is. Wink wink. No, but actually I didn't think that it would really fit Emmanuel. I mean, it wouldn't look bad, but I feel like somebody else might fit them more. Now, we're done with Emmanuel too, so we have both of them finished. But I did want to make an illustration to kind of show off their magic and put it in practice. Yeah. Okay, I wanted to make an illustration because that was kind of also the concept for the video in general. Like, I'm making designs and then I'm making not designs, but I'm making those sketches, and then I'm making illustration. That would be cool. But I didn't really see, like, I didn't know actually what could happen in the illustration. I didn't really see them fighting together, like on the same side, because, okay, keep in mind also that Emmanuel is not, like, in the current state of the campaign, we've not met him yet. Like, I know who he is because I wrote his backstory to our DM, but like, I wouldn't see them fighting together, especially not right now. So I decided to focus on the charm aspect of it. At first, I was thinking of a combined charm attack, charm spell. I keep saying attack, I mean, I guess it is. But in the end, I settled for a charm off. So basically, them trying to out charm each other. I mean, it's fun. It also kinda shows off their relationship. I did make a first version of this drawing. I really liked how Emmanuel came out. My sister said it that the way he's drawn reminded her of Marina from Splatoon. Okay, so yeah, I didn't really vibe with the first version. And so I decided to just start over. It can feel scary to start over, but I feel like most of the time it's way easier to just start from scratch than trying to fix a piece that doesn't seem to work, no matter how many times you tweak it or change little things. It just gets... I get overwhelmed a lot by that, so I prefer to just throw everything, well, not throw away, I mean, it's still here, but just start over. And I mean, this just confirmed what I thought, because the second piece took me way less time. I mean, I think a couple of days, and I enjoyed drawing it a lot more. So, for the second piece, I still kept the division being divided into by their magic, but it spreads horizontally in this one. Also, for both of them, I did want to give them a different outfit from what they usually wear, just because for fun. But to be honest, I mean, I did give them different outfits, but I didn't add too many accessories to them, because I felt like they would just add too much to the illustration and they would be kinda make it heavy on the eyes. It would kinda lose some of its impact. They would be distracting, and I mean, I like rich pieces with many details, but I felt like they were kinda useless in this context. Actually, no, I felt like they made it worse. And to check if the coloring was balanced, I put a black layer on top with the layers blending tone set to color in order to see the grayscale version of the whole piece and kinda balance it out. Okay, so this is the final result. I like it. I'm definitely glad I remade the piece. Just, it feels a lot more natural. Maybe I'm just saying that because I actually found it easier to draw. But still, I think that it flows together nicely in a better way than the first try did. It could be more glittery. Like, especially Manuel, I still think that I feel like most people that draw, and honestly, probably in other forms of art too, have these, like, it's hard. It's basically impossible to feel 100% satisfied with a piece. I don't know if it's impossible, but that is the case most of the time. So I'm not striving for that. I never strive for perfection, I think. I mean, even with my style, I think you can kinda see I don't go for super clean. I don't go for extremely polished. It's because I don't really feel the need to. I do like pieces that do that, but for what I do, I drop pretty instinctively, and for what I do, I don't feel like those details that I'm not adding would add much to the piece. Now, I do think that it's good to keep trying out new stuff though, so I try to challenge myself. Like, I don't want to say, I don't do that because that's just not what I want to convey, and then I just don't know how to do that maybe. I don't want to lie to myself and say that it's my style if it's actually just something I can't do. But most of the time, at least, yeah, my goal is not to have a completely... Like, I'd rather draw a face that is asymmetrical, but conveys more emotion than one that is perfect, in quotation marks, of course, but conveys less. I do think that is a pretty, though, like, I think that a lot, not all, but lots of artists can relate to this. After all, that's for a lot of people, that is the whole point. This was a tangent. Yeah, tangents, you should avoid them when drawing. That is important. That's a great tip. Actual tangents, like lines. Okay, I also, now that I'm looking back at everything I've done after a few days, I want to kind of share my thoughts now. I mean, I still like the piece. In hindsight, there's a couple of things that I could have included that kind of went under the radar. Is that? Yeah, like I forgot. I kind of forgot about them. Well, not that much. With the manual, I'm satisfied. I would like to, as I said, maybe more glittery in some way. If I had to draw a piece of him performing on stage, I think that I could use the magic. I mean, and I don't think it's a flaw in the design of the magic itself. I think it can look even better in a specific context. So I'm fine with that. For Lebardo, I like it, but so I didn't really speak about this part of his character, but he's supposed... I mean, he is a charm-based caster. He has charm, otherwise he couldn't cast. So he is a charm-based caster, but his charm is supposed to be a little off-putting. Now, yeah, that wasn't really conveyed in his magic. I think that if I went for the darker color instead of the gold, that would have made it clearer. But the thing is, I really do like the gold, especially because of the sparks in the attack that make it, like, I like that they're gold, so if they get more intense, they can go into a red, intense red, it being metal. like the sparks coming off of the metal strings. I mean, it could also just be off-putting in the way it sounds, because I kind of touched on the sound part of it all, not that much. It would make sense if they attack, when he attacks, the sound of the guitar is louder, simply louder, I guess, especially for attacks like Thunder Wave. Like, I imagine it as a sound wave. The off-putting part is the sound. Like, he's not supposed to sound bad. That's why I'm saying it's still charming in a way. But it is supposed to sound a little off. Like those singers that are good, like they sound good, even though they might not be hitting all of the notes. They might not be making the conventional choice, but it sounds good in a weird way. Like, maybe it wouldn't sound good as like white noise. You would have to accept it as something that is a little bit different, but it doesn't sound bad. Otherwise, no one is getting charmed, and that's a problem. But yeah, this is all I have for now. I mean, this was... Well, thank you for listening, first of all. If you finished the video, that's great. Thank you. And there's more to come, I hope, I think. Yeah, no, I do. I mean, I say I think because, like, if I die, there's nothing coming. But I mean, that's kind of implied, I guess. I would like to do more of these. I would also... Like, I have different ideas for videos. As I said, I would like to go into the different AUs. Anything that has to do with drawing my OCs, my DnD characters, and kinda talking about them, I would like to do that. Also, especially with AUs and character exploration, I think it would be super cool. It would be really nice if you have your own character, you would also try to do that with me, like while listening. And if you do, I would really like to see that. I really like seeing what people can do with their characters, or in general how creative people can get. If you were to do something and post it, you could at me, and I would love to see that. Yeah, but yes, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I don't die so I can make more of these. See you soon.